Welcome to your Wordless podcast, the space where we redefine success, self-worth, and transformation. I am Nierras, the soul-centered architect of transformation, helping you unlock your highest potential and build a legacy beyond limits. Now, whether it is self-mastery, career breakthroughs, or wealth creation, this is where change begins. Now, let's dive in. What was it like growing up as a Beatrice Gutknecht?
Wow, there is so much in terms of backstories. Any particular bits that you'd
Your
like
career or whatever that led you to doing whatever that you're doing right now?
Oof. There's actually a lot of things. Like, I remember when I was a kid, before high school, I would dance around, have a lot of energy. Like, I used to love watching ads on TV and be like, yeah, I could totally create this, mash two completely different ideas together from I don't know, water and exercising or completely different things. Anything, right?
Well, I'm going to put you on the spot in a bit, so
okay, but
I apologize. Yeah.
But then as life happens, right? Society, schooling, all these things push that down. And I lost that. I was okay, I need to, what do I need to do for university? Trying to figure out all these things. Just the whole kind of schooling pushed that down and it disappeared. And it wasn't until probably 6-7 years ago that started getting unlocked again when was in a real estate role. My boss back then, she was most amazing human being. She saw that little version of me, that actually had a voice, that had energy and had a little bit of pizzazz to her. Started I don't know how the hell she did it, but she started pulling it out. And then over the next few years, it was really rediscovering that voice. I even asked my friend, I was like, look, do you think I have a voice? Do I even have one? And they're like, do you have a voice? Do I have and I was like, really? That was
So they were rather in shock that you actually don't know that you have a voice, or are they in the opposite way? I don't want to say condescending, or it's are you sure, Beatrice, you have a voice? So what was their take? Or is it we've been telling you to please pursue whatever it is that you wanted? So is it that or the former?
No. They were like, you have a voice, you do. You just kind of need to lean into it more. Because when I'm super comfortable around friends, it comes out, right?
Yes.
But then being in I don't know, new friend groups or that sort of thing, it'll go back to that reserved, checking how everybody else in the group is reacting and what they're saying and acting like that, right? Especially in
adjusting
Southeast
our
Asia.
temperature to match theirs.
Always. That was the thing. And that has its advantages, especially, when you're having conversations with people, you can easily mirror their body language, etc. And it builds that relation. That's great. But having and understanding that you have your own voice was a big part of that. And that further doubled down after my mom passed away and after my dad passed away, that look, you only get one shot at this life thing. If there is even a smallest part of me that wants to do something, I should do it rather than listening to people who are just play it safe. You just get secure money first and then you can do whatever you want afterwards. And I know me.
Oh, I
Like,
don't
whatever.
like that word. Ooh, that was an ear prick up moment for me. Like, I remember flashback. My dad used to tell me that.
Yeah, that was like that was an ex I had for 10 years, and it was always like that. I had quite a lot of people in my life at that time who were supporting in that sort of narrative, understanding that, like, hey, look, even if, or making that decision rather, if there's like even the smallest part of me that wants to do something, I want to fucking do it. Like, be it starting the business, learning to dance salsa, like starting video podcast.
Kizomba, do you dance that too? Bachata?
Yes, exactly. And all of these things were just like, there was the smallest part of me that wanted to do it. Yeah, I'm hella like uncomfortable doing these things, starting these things. Like, a lot of people don't believe that my first video was when I started the business, like after I started the business. So it
What do you
wasn't
mean?
that long
Video, like
ago.
in front of the video?
Yeah, like
Really?
the video content that you see on like Instagram, whatever, all these things.
Uh-huh.
It looks like I've been doing it forever, but it was just like getting started and then believing that like nobody cares.
Yeah.
This sounds really
Actually,
bad,
that's true.
but
Yeah. Nobody cares. Oh my gosh.
you know, we're scrolling, and can you really remember what the post was 5 posts ago?
I can. Yes. Yes.
So what does it even matter? If we fuck up, we fuck up. Like,
Yeah. And try again, pivot.
and it makes for good bloopers, which people love. They do better than regular posts.
That's true. Yeah. Okay, Beatrice, I'm going to pick your brains on that. But first, I want to peel back the layers about your work, your journey. So you first entered the real estate market industry, right? And then that's where you had like a mentor, which is your boss. Would you say that? Hi, I'm Nierras, your host of the Your Worthless podcast. Now, if these real raw stories hit home, don't wait. Please follow, like, and subscribe my Spotify and YouTube. For bite-sized inspirational reels, follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Don't wait. Your transformation starts today. Thank you, and bye for now.
So my background, I have a bachelor degree in business in hotel management, international hotel management. So I have done every conceivable role that you can in a hotel, from like housekeeping, cleaning toilets, to like
Revenue to the
kitchen, everything. Like, I get it. Right. So that started off like a little bit like the conversational side, being like, okay to talk with people, understanding, and that curiosity about human nature, psychology. That's where it first started. And then driving further into like consulting, into sales and marketing, and then being headhunted for that real estate role. It all sort of connected. But the reason why I mentioned that real estate role was purely because of the boss. Like, she was like
she
a
was
mentor.
right. She was the one who pushed you to take that leap to start your own business. I'm imagining this. So, okay,
That
now
was years before.
I am interested to know your entrepreneurship journey. Like, what happened before and what made you believe that, hey, F it. Okay, I'm the host. The guest is allowed to cuss. F it, I'm going to do it. So, yes.
Exactly. So that's when it started I started to drift away from those people, those limiting mindset people.
Okay.
So I started leaning into like looking into a lot like about charisma. So I followed and still follow Charisma on Command. I'm not paid by them. I wish I was, because I would hype them the heck up. It is the best channel to follow, like, about really understanding, talking to people, the psychology around how people like act in conversations, that sort of thing. So, and how to improve your own, right? Getting into that, and then managing a hotel and being in e-commerce. I did all these things, but the trigger was the military coup and my dad passing away within a week. So all that stopped like the work that I was doing for that startup e-commerce company. We were all just like inside our buildings, and I was kind of hoping that it wasn't going to stick, but it's still getting worse, the situation there now. That was in 2022.
Well, okay. I would like our listeners to actually get a sneak peek of what it was about. So it might not have any context about the military coup and what happened with your dad's passing. If you could share just a little bit if you're comfortable. But if you're not, we can totally move to a different topic.
About the coup or about
the military coup and then slowly progressing to your dad's passing, because I know that that's one of the reason why you actually, the motivation for you to pursue your dream. Yeah.
Yeah. So my dad passed away first, and then a few days later, there was the military coup. So I'm like, I have no idea. I'm an only child. I'm an only child. And like my mom had already passed away, and I was like, I don't know what to do. So like trying to figure everything out. And to me, to this day, I believe, and that's like the biggest driver is like, there is nothing worse that can come at me at this point, like than my dad's passing away. That was just, it was rough. It was incredibly rough, and I was lucky to have some incredible friends around me that literally just showed up. I had the bottle of tequila. I was like, this is what I'm going to be having for dinner tonight. And then half an hour later, like I get a knock on the door, and they just come in and full support. And a few days later, the military coup happened. So I'm on video chat with complete strangers with like unknown internet, because the internet and access to the rest of the world was shut off, I think, for the first day. I was like, I don't know if this is going to cut off, but we're going to try to do this, to go through like my dad's apartment, because I wasn't sure at that point, if I leave the country, maybe I can't come back again.
Yeah.
So I finally only left Myanmar 6 or 7 months after the coup, because I was like, maybe it'll get better. Like I'll ride this out. It's okay. And it wasn't. And it kept on getting closer to me. Like I had an acquaintance who owned like a media outlet, and they got put into a cell next to their partner and tortured so they could hear each other scream. And it's just like, and another good friend of mine, she was like staying alone in an apartment, and 4 a.m. her apartment got raided. She's like staying there alone, like they knocked down her door and everything. It's just like, this is getting too close for comfort. Like people that I care about are being affected. And the opportunities, like since the coup, I hadn't been working. Like we were all just work from home, because there's gunfire, there's all these things. It's not safe for the team to be going to the office. So we're all just, waiting out. We got to a point I was like, okay, I'm just going to go move to Thailand.
It seems the most plausible idea.
It's plausible. It's the easiest, etc. So finally left the country. I was like bawling my eyes out on the plane, and like this is during COVID time as well.
My gosh,
side-eyeing me.
I am so sorry you had to go through that. Yeah. Becoming a podcast host was a natural extension of my second act. Now, after spending 15 years in the corporate world, I've transitioned to helping individuals overcome challenges like navigating tough relationships, career burnout, and aligning their mission with their soul's calling. By certifying as an RTT hypnotherapist and a lifestyle coach, I've made it my mission to empower people to recreate the life they deserve, and building a supportive community through my podcast. Now let me ask, are you facing challenges like struggling to reprogram your mind to attract wealth, weight issues that feel like a constant yo-yo, insomnia or restless nights from daily worries, or just a lack of confidence in public speaking? If the answer is yes, visit www.thenierrasholisticlifestyle.com and grab a free hypnosis audio of these common struggles. It's a sneak peek into how my coaching works. Are you feeling shy? Don't be, because I'm as real as it gets. Let's connect on Instagram and LinkedIn and start your transformation today.
So settled there, well, sort of settled there. That was finally when I started settling the things around my dad's passing. Went to scatter his ashes in Switzerland, and then met the people that, at that time they were complete strangers who helped with the whole process of going through his apartment, keeping his belongings, etc. While I was just dealing with a military coup on the other side.
Yeah.
And yeah, at that point, I was really unsure because I was the one that convinced my dad to move to Thailand so that he could live his best life. That's all I wanted. I wanted him to not have to stress about money, to just live like a king, right? And I was like, shit, with COVID and everything, maybe he was alone, this is all my fault, that maybe he died and he just felt completely alone. Until I met these people and I started hearing the stories that they would tell, and I'm like, oh my God, my dad, that's classic my dad. And it was never a question of whether he knew that I loved him or that was sure, but I just didn't want him to be alone, and that closed that out for me. And so that following year I was like, okay, you know what, you guys are still using your savings on me because that was a startup company. Just stop. I will look for a job. Spent almost a year job hunting because at that time, another thing that came into play was in the US, there was a lot of high level let goes, and those high levels were also going for director level roles, the roles that I was going.
Yeah. Yes.
And then got to a point, this was close to a year. I was like, you know what? This is it. We're going to do this. And that was the decision. I was like, even if I get employed, the chances of that employer actually listening fully and implementing what I could give to them.
Yes.
It's unlikely. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to start this business. I'm going to do this myself. And whatever happens. I had people at that time going, are you sure about this? You've been job hunting for a year. You've been using your savings, all this thing.
Dude. Sorry.
I stuck to my guns. I was like, no, I'm going to do this because I know.
Story is kind of similar. No, yeah, I'm going to let you finish because I'm going to, share a little bit about how I'm resonating with your story.
So I stuck to it, and it sucked. It still has it's business has its ups and downs.
Yes.
There's going to be the ups and
For
downs,
sure.
but I knew that a lot of people were like, hey, maybe just get a job. And I was like, I can't do both, because if I do a job, I'm going to put all of me into it. And
oh my God,
not me. I
said the same thing to my mother a couple of weeks back. I think I said, Mom, okay, sorry, I don't want to cut you off. Please continue.
No, go.
I'm dying to share my, no, because I just to let you know that I was let go early last year, 2023. Now, prior to that, there were these telltale signs from the universe, God, higher power, whatever you believe in, that's saying to me, hey, Nick, you've acquired the knowledge from your, at the time was 13 years of career. So you've had experiences in different industries and different roles. So, and one thing that was difficult to me was that I went into consulting for a short bit, and then I went into a commercial. So I've always been in consulting firms. So when I went to commercial, now I've had the chance to actually be on the receiving end, somebody who's actually receiving the advice from the consultant. So being a consultant, once you're done, you do your strategy, you do your planning, implementation, yada, yada, yada. You give it back to the client. That's it. You get paid, right? But then you don't, I mean, I knew then, but then now that I was on the commercial side, it's so hard to get them to change, and it's so hard for them to implement the changes or the strategies that you told them to, to change in the first place. You hired me for this, right? So me with the consulting cap, I put it on, and then off I went to present. Let's say there was a project with my boss, and then I presented this. I think we should revamp this side. The first thing they gave me was this eye squinting and this judgment in the face, saying, I don't think she knows what she's talking about. But that was equivalent to, no, Nick, I don't think that's the right way. I think we should keep it this way because we tried changing it a couple of years back, but it did not work. So I thought that I should dumb my ideas down, okay, because I'm new and I don't want to seem like I'm hoarding over the decision making. Now, being a consultant, you're hired, so you actually tell them, hey, because you want to uphold your duties, right? You're being paid, so you want to give value. So that backfired. Instead, I don't want to say outcast, but I was given a different role totally that has nothing to do with the operations, because what I was trying to revamp, I was trying to improve the efficiency, was the operations. So they gave me a people and culture role. And because I'm very good in connecting with people, I'm very good at that, the soft skills. So they gave me that. And I was like, F this. So 2 years into the role, I looked up, I was scrolling and I saw Mind Valley, and I came across Marissa Peer, hypnotherapy. So I got divorced in 2019. So that was also going into COVID. And at the time I was with a job previously, one job before the current one that I was let go of. So that one I think that was the ultimatum that I wanted to leave corporate for real. But I said to myself, okay, you know what? Don't give up, Nick. This is not you. Maybe you're on the wrong side of the train, the track, right? So I tried going on to the other side, the commercial. And I knew then when I joined the company and I had that pushback from my management, and I said, you know what? I have to strategize before leaving completely. So that's what I did. And I started my podcast because I had this narrative in my head that I was worthless. Number one was because of my divorce. Okay, I hadn't fully processed the whole thing. So I just jumped into, focusing all my effort and energy on working. That also backfired because of COVID. So fast forward, let go last year. And that's when it's like the university say, okay, I'm kicking your butt. You don't want to move, right? So I'm moving it for you. So I finished off my certification. And here I am. Yeah.
Yeah,
8 months in.
There is always signs. There's always signs. Because I remember, like, when it was with this ex I was telling you about earlier, I was coming up with like ideas like, hey, what if I start like a nail salon where they're also serving champagne?
Oh my God.
And like there's a bar. It's like
You're
a bar.
so creative.
And like nails and like hair and everything. And I'm like, that would be epic. Like, what woman would not want that? Seriously.
Yes,
I mean, okay.
Yes.
These days, there's more the move towards non-alcoholic drinks, but still, it could be mocktails, whatever.
Yeah.
He was always like, but, maybe this is not the... See, like, that's the thing. Like, it was always somebody popping in going, maybe that's not the right idea. And same thing as what you just mentioned. I'd be like, yeah, maybe it's true. Maybe, like, it's not the right idea. Like, or maybe it's not, like, I'm not good enough yet. Like, because I was just always at that time, like in that space where I have no value. Like he would always question why I'd be so determined for whatever role that I went for, like the GM role, I always focus on like pushing up, like
Leveling
what
up.
is the next
Yeah.
leveling up. Yes,
Yes.
always. And like it'd be hard. I'd be like applying for a while and I'd struggle. Like I'd feel like crap. And he'd always be like, oh, why are you doing this to yourself? Just settle for a finance job. They get paid well. And I'm like,
I'm meant for more.
in my like self, I was just like, I would not be happy. And that's not what I want. And
Because
he's
it's like
but
there's this fire just trying to burst out from you, and like, damn it, I only have one shot at this. And if I don't do it now, when else? I'm gonna regret. Do you know, Beatrice, that is a very good point. And I think I want to connect. I had a guest just I think 3 days ago, and she's a medium. So she receives downloads, right? And she was like, Nick, I think for you, no, we were talking, and then suddenly I had this hunch to ask her, okay, Catherine, what do you see about me? And I said, and then she said, do you have anything? Because energy speaks for itself. Okay. Aura speaks worse than the person. So I could tell that she was trying to say, she wanted to get something out, and she was like, okay, maybe we do it after. This is personal. I said, okay. So she said, Nick, have you ever felt like anything that you mention, you and there's always somebody's trying to cut you off or shut your ideas down? Because in your previous life, you were that. You were this girl with this grand ideas, and then you wanted to change. It was during a medieval time. You wanted to change something in the village, but they outcasted you because number one, you're a female, and number two, you were under your dad's influence. So your dad was somebody important, but they couldn't see any value with you. So you tried to stand your ground, but then you were outcasted. So you left the village. And then when you left, when they started looking at what actually is happening in the village, and they said, oh, she was right, but you were far long gone. And then she mentioned that you probably did not live very long at the time. So right now it's like you came into this earth to actually finish your mission. So there's always this feeling of rebelling. I know it's a bad connotation, right? But it's, if I cannot, you know what? If nobody's going to accept my idea the way that I want it to be done, might as well start my own thing and build my own, again, call this a bad word, but my own community,
okay. I need to call this out. Who made rebel a bad word? Like, why is it a bad word? Right? Like,
yes,
going
against
like
the grain.
Exactly. Like, I disagree. And that's like the big why behind Badassery by B. It's always been, I want to push back against those societal norms, which like they're serving certain people. There's no actual reason, but we're all just so used to following it because everybody else is doing it. Like same as what I mentioned right at the beginning, is looking to what everybody else is doing so that we fit in. Right? So it's like, I can't say this because like other people will say, like, oh, look at her. Like it's same as your past life. I'm not aligning with what everybody else is doing and I'll be shunned.
Yes.
But for what reason? Like now, because there is so much, especially in business, so much competition.
Mm-hmm.
The point is that you need to lean into that aspect that makes you different. And I see it from a personal standpoint and I see it from a business standpoint that we need to push back against those norms. Like, why does this need to be like this? Does it though? Does it really?
Mm-hmm. I love it. And I wanted to echo on the part where you said playing it safe. Playing it safe means that everybody does not. So usually people that's playing it safe has something that they don't want to face because they're comfortable with just settling. Okay. Now, I know some people might get pissed by listening to this, but I mean, why settle, bro?
Yeah. I mean, you see all the people who are successful, they have people that very, like, they vehemently dislike them. And they have
Yeah.
people who vehemently love them. They're like
Yeah.
obsessed with them. So that's the sign. If you have people who are like, actually, I don't like what you're saying here. Hell yeah. I
Yes.
count that as a win.
Yes.
That means like I leaned into my voice enough that it stirred someone to feel strongly about it, whichever way it is.
Yes.
That's a
There's
win.
probably something that's within them that's scared to do the exact thing that the other person is doing.
But that also means there'll be someone else out there who was like, I have been so scared to say that. Or like, I feel like so much resonation with like what you just said there. They'll reach out and they'll be like, how can I work with you? It's been a long journey, like so much. Yeah, it sucks. All those people that want to get out, like don't want to get outside of the comfort zone. I get it. Like it sucks. You're just getting like shit thrown like left, right, like one thing after another. You just have to keep on getting up. You know, that's the biggest thing. Like from my dad's passed away, my mom's passed away, like the military coup, like not having a job for a year and probably like times in between that, moving continents
Yeah.
2 times, like moving to Valencia was not easy. People are like, oh, it's beautiful, it's whatever. And I'm like, moving here was for none of those reasons. I just didn't need the stress of like not being sure of whether I'm going to be like let back into a country. Because at that time, Thailand was just kept on cracking down on like the visas and who could be in there. And it's like, I don't need the stress. Let me just find somewhere where I don't have the stress. And since I'm like half Portuguese, like I have a Portuguese passport. EU.
This is, yeah, it's
Just
a
purely,
no-brainer. Yeah.
like, I don't
the
want
stars aligned for you.
that kind of stress. Give me like business stress, fine. But like having multiple stressors in your life, like I'm already getting like hella white hair.
Girl, you don't, I was trying to see like just before the interview, I was like trying to sweep this on the side, make sure nobody sees it.
Don't even know how. No. If I move in, you can see them, and it's like, and I kind
It's
of
okay,
like,
we'll just do retouch. I'm waiting for you to set up your nail salon because I'm gonna set up my own wellness spa. So you heard it here first.
I'm
Perhaps you
excited.
can collaborate. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure by now, like people have done it. Like I saw in Thailand, there was like a salon slash, like they also had wine. I don't know if it was a full out bar, but like I would want to have like one side, which is just like, here's a bar. Like the husbands and boyfriends can wait there, have a drink, but you can also like have your nails done and be like,
yeah, I love it.
I was always like, oh, at that time, right? I have no experience in like being like, what are the nails, hair from the owner side. But if you think about it, all the businesses that have scaled, the owners that have come in or the founders that have come in, that particular thing wasn't their passion. They just had the idea around it. And because they weren't so deeply connected with it, they were able to scale it.
Exactly. Because they see the bigger picture.
Yes. And basing like on what I'm doing now, like I'm so passionate about it, where I see like that might come into like a problem later on.
Oh my God. Okay. Now this flows nicely to what I'm going to ask you next. Talk to us about your work. What do you do? And who is Beatrice in her, prime era?
So I have been called this like so much that I feel like I should rebrand. A lot of my clients refer to me as the brand therapist.
I love that. Okay.
I push a lot. Like I pull strings, but like it goes past the first level. Like we have different levels of discomfort. The first answer when we're digging into, say, for example, the reason why we went into something, the reason why we chose like a particular audience, etc., the first answer is never the answer. It's never the answer. So it's like peeling back those layers, because for a strategy, for something to be solid that you can implement, it needs to be very deep rooted. And it's why I won't work with any startup businesses. You want to be doing what you're doing for at least, 2 or 3 years, because you're getting that experience, you're getting the feedback from clients, you're pivoting, you're changing. If you start doing a brand strategy at that time, you're going to be hella annoyed because you're going to change it
A
after
lot of
6
iterations.
months. Right?
100. Yeah.
My focus has really been on bringing the operations experience into brand strategy, because I see so many brand strategists, okay, they go through that side of like, hey, we've discovered these are your values, your positioning, like, etc. And then they hand over a 69-page document, or like, here's, you can put it up onto your website, and that is it. Like, it stops there. Or the other side of brand strategists who they're just glorified designers. So you're just putting like a fresh logo, fresh design, but on the inside, when you go and deal with that company, it's still the exact same. Like, from the Twitter to X move, glorified design. Like, there was no replacement for the word tweet.
Yeah.
Did they think that through? No. There's so many things, even like the Jaguar move, like their rebrand.
Right.
They lost the essence of what
You
their
think so?
brand is.
You think
yeah.
so? Okay, please tell me about Jaguar. That's a great analogy. That's a great case study.
Well,
How would
okay.
you done differently, Beatrice, if you were the
I
one called it?
understand their reasoning, right?
Okay.
But their reasoning is flawed. They wanted people to talk about the brand and for people to have opinions about the brand, be it good or bad or whatever, right? Like what we were talking about before. You want those extreme reactions. But that will only peak for a moment, right? And then you think about it now, how many people are really talking about it still? How many people are boasting about like their Jaguar, right? It hasn't got that long-term change, which they wanted. Like, yes, I get it. The impact, right? Yes, I get it. Their sales were dropping,
Okay.
right? They were struggling because they're perceived as like maybe older, out of date, etc. But there's ways that you can change that, like working with current Gen Z, millennial, like influencers, changing in smaller pivots, not like a complete like, hey, we're pink and fluffy. Right? Like,
oh, you're calling on so
essence?
many people right now. Like, gosh.
What is the essence?
It.
Their like history of the company is what gave it and what could give it the strength. Whereas a lot of companies, they're maybe starting now, they don't have that leverage. But essentially, Jaguar's just put themselves into a brand new company status because they've lost all of their heritage overnight. All of that, like, old school, like, gentleman vibes to it.
Yeah, very regal, very classy.
There's still an audience for that. I guarantee it.
Yes.
We still want to look classy.
Yeah.
We just suddenly become pink and fluffy. No, we did not. Like, they lost that by doing that rebrand. And just for a quick, like, overnight sensation and then the one-hit wonder song. To me, I feel like they damaged their brand rather than making pivot. And then they're like refreshing what is currently there, right? To be relevant again.
Yeah.
Okay, what are our existing values? What do we stand for? What do we represent? What does that look like in current society? That is what I'd focus on, not some like colors and designs and like fluff. I don't care that like the car wasn't in the video or whatever. Like that's not the point. The point is the values and what you represent as a
Wow.
company.
Okay, now I can see this be applied to everything that we do. Our podcast, our business, our work, how we show up at work, how we show up. Okay, maybe not at home because this is where we show up as ourselves. But
One would hope.
we have,
One would hope.
yeah. So yes, you were saying.
I was going to say, like, I think I know a lot of people, and especially certain parts of the world where even at home, you're not really showing up as like, don't forget, I lived in like Southeast Asia for 12 years. So like, I get it. Like the household that I lived for 10 years, like it was similar, but it wasn't the parents. It was the partner that was like that. Like the parents were more like me. And I was like, I love you guys. She's pretty much my adopted mom at this point. Like I still talk to her.
So did you pick up some of the languages?
A bit, but you don't use it. Like Burmese, it was crazy. COVID happened and I was like, hey, this would be the perfect time for me to do lessons.
Yeah.
Freaking a few months later, this military coup happened. I'm like, did I just start learning Burmese like on writing and reading and like talking level just to have to like leave the country? Yes, I did. Shit.
Well, at least you can say very, very, very little knowledge of Burmese in, your profile or wherever.
I mean, I'd be able to pick up if somebody is like talking in Burmese or like Thai. Like I'd be able to know, but probably understanding is it's disappearing very quickly. Let's just say that. But to loop back in terms of what you were saying, like the focus for me has always been like, I want to make sure that whatever we do, that strategy, it can be put into the business, in the operations, every part of the business operations, not only your marketing. We're talking about your sales, your operations, your customer service, making sure that it's one consistent vibe. So like similar to what I suggested for JR.
I love it. So, okay, in one more case study, what is Mercedes? Okay, no, I don't know if it's Mercedes because it's talking about cars, but can you give one successful pivot that one major company has done? It was risky, but they did it very, very successfully.
My brain is blanking on this. Like, I do know, I like how Dollar Shave Club.
What is that?
So it's a shaving cheap
razor.
You can get like a subscription of quality razors, right?
They have that?
They have that in the US.
My God.
Which, I mean, I get it if it's like, it's quality, right? So you've got good quality, consistent blade that, you're using. And so when they first came out, they were like heavily leaning into like the humor, being like super relatable. And that's where they started like their hype. But then they got relaxed. And this is the danger zone because they were just sticking to that one thing rather than seeing different angles to it and keep on rolling and growing on that. So they kind of disappeared into the background and more competitors came in. And so recently I saw that they're like shaking off that dust, put out a fresh ad leaning into the club side of the name, Dollar Shave Club. So I don't know if you've seen The Kingsman, the movie.
Yes.
Okay, it gives me the Kingsman's vibe. So you've got that exclusive club, but you're kind of poking fun at the club. It's I love their version of that because, there are those exclusive, $100 razors, that sort of thing. But it doesn't need to be expensive. Like we can give you something high quality while it being cheap, but without them saying it. They were just poking fun at like the club life.
Tell me you're a very high quality Kingsman level, like what do you call that, shaver, without telling me you're that.
Exactly. they were like walking into like a club. There was like the grounds, but like it was all kind of tongue in cheek in terms of like they were the gentlemen with like the towels tied, but like the way that they're talking, it's not serious,
Yeah.
right? So I was like, yes, yes. So maybe in a way that was kind of like they started off well. They were like, what the hell? Let's get comfy. Do the following thing, what everybody else is doing, or do the same thing again and again. Because I think a lot of people get that misconception of like, hey, if we do a brand, we just have to continue with the exact same message or the exact same visuals. But that's not how it works, right? Once you have that strategy, it's like, what are different angles which we can take? And that's where marketing comes in play. If they know that strategy really well, they're like, okay, so we have this base. Okay, there's this current trend. Does this fall into this trend? If not, let's skip that. If there is a trend, how can we relate that to this strategy, to this position that we're trying to do? And you always keep it fresh, but you're still having the same consistent feel. And that's what you want. Like I have a series on LinkedIn, which is 4 brands walk into a bar. So like, I come up with some crazy.
Let's hear this.
So
Okay.
it's 4 actual brands. So like say, for example, like LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube as humans, and what they would do should they walk into a bar, and I exaggerate into the things that could happen, right? Like it's
My
like an
God.
actual
I can already
situation. One person
imagine
hooks
this.
up with another.
Yeah.
The Instagram's trying to take a selfie, and then
Yes.
LinkedIn sees it. They try, but then they're like, I hurt my back
Yeah.
because they're too old. And then I end it going, so this is can you imagine what your brand would do if it was in a bar? Would people recognize your brand if it was a person in a bar?
Oh, I love it. So what I'm hearing from you is that brand is your essence. So personal branding and marketing. Now you're a brand therapist. So let's say you're about to sell this mouse. Like, how would you brand this mouse?
Well, okay, show me what's in the bottom of the mouse. What are those things? Is that like a smiley face?
It's a heart, and then it is. But this is a BTS. I don't know if you know that group, BTS. It's a merchandise.
So I'd lean into the BTS.
Right. Okay.
I'd lean into the BTS.
And that's why, even though none of the faces are here, but I still buy it because I like the color and I like it because it makes me feel like even though I don't have their albums with me, but at least I have one thing in possession.
Exactly. I'd sell it as like a set. Be like, okay, how can we leverage, this love for BTS? Oh, being away from home, your travel BTS set.
My God. There you go.
I think you might have like extended that chain for me because that was slightly easier with the BTS. Like if I pick up my mouse, I'd be like, this is kind of challenging. For this, I'd lean into like the old school, like, the classy.
Yeah, the classy.
You want to be connected. You want to stay connected. Like, let's keep into this club, like the old school. And then make sure, like, bring in the old, like, typewriter.
Right. So it matches perfectly the aesthetic.
Yeah. So it's like building that image, building that essence. You want to see it.
Right. Oh my God, Beatrice, I just love branding because I'm branding myself right now. I'm branding my business out there. So hence that's why I name my podcast You're Worthless, and then I tie it to my program, my coaching programs. You're not worthless. Obviously, you are worthy and you are enough. So I'm tying it right there, and then now I'm building it. So having you on is like a free like course, a one-on-one course for me. So thank you so much for your golden nuggets of knowledge. And I also would like to hear it from you. For our listeners, I know they might hear it say branding is the thing whatever you want to sell, as long as you have your brand and that people trust, right? Because they go based on trust and quality. So there's this phrase too that people buy with emotion, they justify with logic. Break it down for us before we close off.
So emotion is always going to be the driver. And that loops back into what we were talking about, having like an opinion and putting that forward. Whatever it is, you want to make sure that you're driving on a specific emotion. It could be anger. It could be like jealousy. It could be like, it doesn't have to be positive ones, but you do need to pick
I
something.
like that.
Right. If you're going to be monetized, nobody's going to pay attention to your brand. But it does need to be at the very base, the essence, that name. You need to build that. You need to build that voice and have people associate your brand to that. So same thing is like on my LinkedIn, you'll see the kangaroo. You'll see her everywhere. Rue with the baseball bat and the shades.
Rue is Beatrice. Beatrice.
She's like the badass, like she will go and smash things up who are messing up their brands or not taking it seriously. That's one element, including like the hex, son of an Arabian goat, like these parts of the brand that come together consistently enough. Wherever, like you see me on a podcast, you see me in LinkedIn, you see me in the DMs, wherever, it's the exact same thing, the exact same vibe. And that is the focus. That is the energy. But messaging wise, focus on a specific emotion. It doesn't have to be the same one every time. But whatever message you put out there, what is the emotion that you want to pull out?
Invoke.
Is it curiosity? Yeah.
I love it. Okay. So say, Beatrice, that somebody is interested to working with you. What would you do with them? What would you take them through? What's your process like?
So I only work with a select few businesses each month. So it's a maximum of 5 each month. It is very much a vibe check first of all.
Okay.
So we're getting
Energy
onto a call.
speak?
Energy speaks. At the end of the day, it needs to be both beneficial to you as well as like to me, because if you're winning, I'm winning. But if that's it, I fucking hate this word, synergy.
Yeah. Dynamic. Okay, we can.
If I have a list of like hate words, synergy is on the top. If there's a connection request, we're like, let's develop our synergies. I'm like, ignore. I don't care who it is. Ignore. You use this word. If there's
That's your
my
ick word. Yeah.
If there's that vibe and that energy between us, and like there's also the that you actually need a brand strategy. That part is important. Like if you don't need a brand strategy, we get talky, we find out like, what's the struggle that you're facing, and maybe it's not brand strategy. Maybe you need some work on your operations. Maybe you need some work on like your marketing or your sales team. I'll be there going, okay, well, it's not brand strategy that you need. I'll suggest XYZ, right? It's understanding, okay, is there a fit? Is there that requirement? Do you need, like, is this what's going to solve your current issue? Push you in a good way? And then checking, okay, is there that availability? Is there that space there?
Well, because I'm pretty sure after I air this out, there will be some queries. So that's why I was asking that your process step by step. What's it like when you onboard a client? So I'm mindful of the time, Beatrice. So, right, what are you working on currently? Any exciting projects? I mean, you don't have to share with us if it's confidential.
So I just dropped this quiz. It's taken me far too long to work on it because I wanted to make sure that it really is not just one of those like, here's some fluff that is going to help you, but actually it's like a waste of time. It's a quiz to help when you have multiple products or services as a business and you're looking to expand to countries, internationally, to a different state. You're wanting to expand, right? This quiz will help you decide on what is the most suitable structure your brand structure for that growth so that the different products, the different elements work together seamlessly. People are not confusing different products and services. They're actually supporting each other instead of like fighting against each other. And your team actually know what's going on. Like your operations can actually flow with this growth and grow to wherever you want to go, like be it state, international, etc. So there's a quiz that I just dropped. It's on my website, the brand growth quiz. And
Okay.
I'm sure I'll send you the link afterwards. We can pop it into the
show notes.
The show notes, the thingy.
Yeah, the thingy. Okay. Well, you guys heard it. I will include that in the show notes. So also, Beatrice, we're going to pivot to a self-worth question very quickly. So yes, because my podcast talks a lot about that, about diving in, looking within, facing your inner shadows and doing the work. So now, how do you believe in mindfulness practices? And so the question here, how can mindfulness practices and self-awareness practices contribute to self-discovery and a healthier self-concept? First off, you must agree first whether does it help? And if it doesn't, then, well, you can state your argument. No right or wrong answer.
So weirdo in terms of like, hey, don't necessarily believe in like meditation as the solution, but mindfulness. Yes. Being aware of what you're saying, how you're saying it, what you're thinking really changes how you move, the opportunities that you get. Because if you're aware of what you're saying and how you're saying, you can then know any negative things that you're feeding yourself. And those just help with that negative spiral. If you're in a negative spiral, and as a woman, like we have our ups and downs in a month, and those downs, they will come. It is
That
just
will
being
ravage the living daylight.
Exactly. Sometimes you're like, I am so bleep because I'm not going to put it there. I'm not going to put that into my mindset. But there will be that point in the month. But if the rest of the month you're just like, no, I'm freaking fantastic. Like I've got this, and you've got those people around you to support that. So being aware of like who's around you, does that energy, being aware of like the energy of the people around you lift you up or exhaust you? Do you feel exhausted after meeting with that certain friend? Being aware of those things, that is what I feel like has been the biggest driver for growth.
I love it. I think the key here is being aware and catch yourself when you're feeling or thinking that negative thoughts, or you're starting to spiral into that negative, loop or rabbit hole by saying, let's say I was just recording this short reel yesterday that so say you have a to-do list of 10 items, and that I think 99%, I don't know what the statistics are, but 99% of people don't finish their to-do list. They only probably manage to cross at least 1 to 3 or 5 even. That 5 is even, pushing it, stretching it. But for me, it's like, I don't believe in freaking to-do lists. So I cross them all out, and then I move the top 2 priorities and just focus on that. If, say, by the end of the day, I have more time to finish the rest, then okay, I'll take 1. So it keeps me in check, keeps my emotion in balance, and I feel good because I completed all the things that I said I was going to complete today. So, and that aids in my self-confidence, and I feel good, and I'm more motivated to start again tomorrow. So yeah.
I mean, I have three things on my list every day. Like I might have more overall, but 3 every day. And another thing is like, questioning. I feel like questioning ourselves, like, okay, why am I feeling like this? That is such a big thing, because sometimes you're like angry, and I'm like,
with the heck am I angry? Yeah.
Sometimes like that'll affect relationships, right?
Yes.
Like that first reaction, I'm angry because he didn't put down the toilet seat, or he didn't clean whatever. Like,
a typical example.
It's like, is that what I'm actually angry, or is it like related to something deeper? The questioning why is big.
Yes, questioning. I love that. You added a very, very good point. Question, question, question. Why is this number? Why, let's say you're trying to drill down as to why you think these are important. And then you suddenly, while doing the thing, you might find that, hey, I think item number 4, which I left, is more important than this one. So rearrange, reprioritize, and then work towards completing that. So yeah, you're allowed to reprioritize, to have a bigger picture, step out and see the bigger picture, and then zoom in again and do your work. So just a quick tip to those listenings out there. So Beatrice, okay, what is your heart's greatest wish?
Damn, that was an uppercut right there. I was like, what?
And people coming to me and say, Nick, wow, you don't really give us any indication that this is coming.
Heart's greatest wish for people or for myself?
Both.
For people, learning about those social norms that like you've just been doing all the time and being like, wait, why am I doing this? And then following true to what you actually stand for, be it as a person. Like, I want more people to just push back on what should be. You know, we got this whole thing about like, oh, you know, you have to go to university, then you have to get married, have 2.5 kids, house, white picket fence. I don't know. Like, or, oh, you know, you need to have a secure income before doing anything. I'm not promoting business here. It is rough as fuck, but like, if that's what you want to do, then do it.
It is rough as fuck out there, guys, but then it is so worth it.
For me, it's happiness. That's all I want.
Love that. Okay, now the last question. If you could create a quote right now for you to leave to the audience listening and the world as your legacy, what would it be? Again, another what type of...
You did like an uppercut, and this is like a right hook. Like, I'm knocked out. Slap, slap. You got this.
You got this.
God, wow. Whatever it is, just ask why. Whatever situation, be it for your business, personal. I think so many things in my day-to-day life, in business, in like consulting, a lot of my questions are like, but why do you feel like that? Or, but why did you put this in place like that? Why is everybody else in the industry doing that? What is the purpose that serves? Like, why do I feel angry? Why did I set this apartment? Like, why did I make this choice? Ask why.
Wow. That was the mic drop moment. No, I love it because that's what I do as well with my clients. I mean, you say that you're feeling this way, you're not sleeping, but why are you not sleeping? Because, you know, I was working on this project. Oh, is that project? Why do you think that project is important enough? Yeah. What does it do if you complete it? What will happen if you don't complete it? And then suddenly, after 2 hours later, it's not even because of him not sleeping. It's because of something else. So you see, if my camera is doing its thing.
Even on a global level, right? I think the question why are we doing this? Why do we need to do this? Like, if we put this into politics, so why does this make sense to do this? It could solve and avoid wars, avoid conflict.
Exactly.
Like, being that aware of hang on, being able to understand somebody else's point of view, because so many people get into fights and misunderstandings purely because they didn't take the time to understand another person. And why solves that.
Yeah. I mean, to put it simply, just be curious. However you want to pick in that curiosity, just ask why. Number one way of it is asking why. Why? Why
are you angry about this? Like, I just want to understand what you're feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people, they're going to be they're start in that conflict mode. But then as soon as you start trying to understand where they're coming from, it diffuses. Yes. So
Yeah, you should consider getting certified as a therapist.
apparently
Maybe.
I need to rebrand.
Oh, wow. And that's what you do. Shoot. Oh my God, Patrice, if you can rebrand to a brand, yeah. Oh my God, I'm rooting for you. Like, we're connected. So I'm going to look at your development over on LinkedIn and
This is going to
personally.
change from like differentiate and dominate with badassery to brand therapy with brand.
I can't see though. Wait, let me see. My face is in the way.
So this is going to change
Differentiate. Yeah.
next week. I'm going to go,
Oh, really?
why? Brand therapy with Beatrice.
Yeah. Oh my God. You heard it, guys. Ask what? Brand therapist with Beatrice. An idea has just dropped, guys.
On the podcast.
There you have it. Yeah, on a podcast. Yeah. And she's writing it down
This
right
is
now.
why you have conversations. I am.
Exactly. Wow. Okay. Now, how can people reach out to you, Beatrice? They want to see you moving into a different direction here. Ask why now. And then when you're going to open that nail salon, how can people reach out to you?
If you want good nails while getting wasted, no, I'm kidding. We're just going to have classy drinks.
Okay.
Classy drinks.
Yeah. Classy drinks. Only classy drinks. Yeah.
Classy. It's going to be mimosas and nails.
Yeah.
Business name right there. Mimosas and nails. I need to get on more podcasts.
Yeah. This is the cue. You better write that down, Beatrice. Mimosas and nails. Yeah. Okay. How can people reach out to you?
Connect with me on LinkedIn. This is my home, my baby. I'm Beatrice Gutknecht. The link will be in the podcast show notes in case you can't spell that. Podcast, The Art of Branding. Some weirdo decided to start up something with the exact same name without checking that it's actually been used. It's the one with the kangaroo at the baseball bat. Easy one.
That's here.
Okay. And follow weekly newsletter dropping each Friday with in-depth tips on how you can stand out, how you can implement into your company. Each Friday, 10 a.m., the Badass Mug, also on the website and in the show notes. My brain was blanking there.
Wow, you heard it, guys, here live, although this is recorded live on Your Word. Let's read that again. So that's a wrap today on today's inspiring episode with Beatrice Gutknecht. Thank you for your wisdom and for your dedication to continue your work and to uplift others in their branding. So for our listeners, this has been Your Wordless. Read that again, the juxtaposition of your very soul. Now, remember, if you've ever felt worthless, you are not alone. Your soul chose to be here to matter. And for that reason alone, you are worthy. A huge thank you to Beatrice again and to all of you for listening. Until next time, I am Nierras, your host. Keep shining, keep growing, and always remember you are worthy and you are enough. See you in the next episode. Thank you, Beatrice.
Thank you.
We'll start. Shall we start?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, Beatrice. Good morning to you. How are you?
I'm good. Yourself?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for reaching out on LinkedIn and for agreeing to be on my podcast. Now, I'd like to introduce you to our listeners. And before that, I'd like to introduce myself and to all of our listeners that's listening, that may be listening for the first time. My name is Nicolette. I am the creator for the podcast titled You're Worthless. Read that again, the juxtaposition of your very soul. Now, without further ado, let me introduce you to our listeners and then we can get right into our topic today. I think we're going to cover a few main areas. But first, who is Beatrice Gutknecht? Oh my God. Which that
looks tougher than it is.
Oh my gosh. Mastery is defined as the behavior, characteristics, or actions regarded as formidably impressive, and that's what Beatrice brings to the table and how she sees businesses deserve to be seen. Now she's about taking your seemingly boring business and shaking up how it's seen inside out through practical actions to stand the heck out. Okay, I want to know more. Not the 69-page documents, pretty designs, or templates. Beatrice is an Aussie expat who's been living the life in Spain right now, spanning from Myanmar and Thailand. Now, she's spent over a decade in operations, marketing, and brand roles, making her approach business applications forward, all while enjoying the process. Now, Beatrice, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's badass. I love it.
It's badass.
It's badass.
Okay. It's badass. Now, before you just, badass is equivalent to patisserie, patisserie. I remember asking you just before, after we got connected. So, but before we dive into that, can you please share with us your backstory? Love this episode? Now, transformation doesn't end here. Head on to @holistic.lifestyle_with_Nick. That is on my Instagram. Or head on to my website, www.holisticlifestyle.com for more info on my coaching framework, which is the Worthy, Authentic, and Abundant Framework, digital guides, and my upcoming events such as retreats and master classes and workshops. Now, I also do intuitive readings where we get to check on your soul path